This instructional video is to be used only as a training aid. It is not intended as a replacement for the operating instructions or repair manuals. Installation operations should be performed by properly trained personnel. Before beginning any no-blow installation or repair procedure, be sure to read, understand, and follow the operating instructions in the manual. And remember, always use genuine Mueller parts and always use the appropriate safety equipment. This video training module will illustrate the installation or repair procedures using Mueller Company's H-17800 curb valve T.
The Mueller H-17800 curb valve T consists of the following: a body machined from a solid steel forging, a steel completion cap, a stainless steel stem, a malleable iron T handle, 2 O-rings in recessed grooves in the completion cap, a brass set screw for the T-handle. It is available in sizes 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch, and 2 inch. The maximum pressure rating of this T is 1440 psi. Before beginning any T installation, the proper toolkit must be selected. To do this, you must know 3 things: the size and style of the T, the drilling machine being used, the type of valve or control chamber that will be used. Knowing this, the appropriate toolkit can be selected from the Mueller Gas Products catalog. For this demonstration, the Mueller E5 drilling machine and the H17025 control chamber will be used to install the 1-inch H17800 curb valve T. Mueller has 8 basic procedures that are recommended for any T installation. They are: read, understand, and follow the instructions given in the operating manual. Clean the main. Attach the T. Test for leakage. Set up the equipment on the T. Perform the drilling operation. Insert the completion plug. Install the completion cap. Following these steps, first thoroughly clean the main of dirt and burrs for a smooth surface on which to weld the T. To make an all-welded connection, first remove the cap and complete stem and T-handle assembly from the T. The welding can often be made easier by welding the service line to the T above ground. Extend the service line to the first shutoff point and close the valve. Now, weld the T and service line to the main. Mueller recommends that the test cap be on the T during the welding operation. It serves 4 functions. It protects the outside threads from weld splatter. It allows the hot welding gases to escape through the hole in the cap. It keeps the T from warping. And it provides a way to connect a pressure source to the T after it is air-cooled to test the welds for leaks. Once the welds are tested, use the H17615 center punch on the main to give the drill a true start on the top of the pipe. We are now ready to bring this T into service by drilling the main. The H17025 control chamber has a maximum working pressure of 125 psi. It has a bronze body which contains a quick-opening, self-aligning, pressure-sealed flop valve. The valve handle clearly indicates the open or closed position of the flop valve and contains a thumb screw for securing the valve in these positions. The control chamber has a bypass relief valve used to equalize pressure above and below the flop valve to make opening easy. The bypass relief valve also permits expelling the gas inside the machine before it is removed. The valve also provides a way to test connections for pressure tightness. The control chamber comes with 3 bottom bushings for different sized T's: 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch, and 1 1/2 inch, to fit different sizes of T's. There are optional bushings available in 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch sizes. Bushings are easily changed by removing the set screw and using the spanner wrench to unthread the bushing from the control chamber. A totally contained O-ring makes a positive seal between the chamber body and bushing. Features of the control chamber offer these advantages over the commonly used bronze gate valve. Control chamber parts are field replaceable. Those of the bronze gate are not. One chamber can fit 5 sizes of T's. A bronze gate fits only 1 size of T. A bypass relief valve is available on the control chamber. It is not available on the bronze gate valve. Before starting the drilling, check to be sure the control chamber is mounted securely on the T, that the flop valve is open, and that the bypass relief valve is in the bypass position. Also make sure the drill is clean and free of dirt and debris. This can be done by honing the leading edges before each tap. Thread the combined drill and holder into the right-hand threads at the base of the boring bar. Wrench tight. Apply cutting grease to the end of the drill and retract the drill into the body of the machine. Place the machine on top of the control chamber and tighten it. Never use pipe wrenches, as the serrated jaws will damage the machine. Adjustable wrenches with smooth jaws accompany every machine. Lower the drill until it contacts the main. Engage the feed yoke above the thrust collar and secure it in place with the pivot arm and thumb screw. Raise the drill off the main slightly by turning the feed tube approximately 1/4 turn in a counterclockwise direction. This gives the tool a true start and allows the drill to start turning before cutting into the main. It also keeps the drill from starting in a bind. The E5 machine has a recommended cutting ratio of 10:1. This means 10 full turns using the ratchet handle to 1 full turn of the yoke handle. If the yoke is fed too fast, the drill may bind and you risk breakage. A light, slow feed is best. There is no set travel distance to monitor. It will be obvious when the drill penetrates the main because the yoke will turn freely. Once drilling through the main has been completed, the machine chamber and T will be under full line pressure. Mueller recommends using the feed yoke to retract the drill by leaving it engaged with the boring bar, turning the yoke in a counterclockwise direction. This will allow the operator to keep the boring bar under control so that piston action cannot cause it to snap upward and possibly cause a serious injury. Once the drill is raised above the flop valve, close the flop valve and lock it in position with a thumb screw. This will prevent accidental opening of the flop valve. Turn the bypass relief valve to the relieve position, which will expel the pressure from the upper section of the control chamber and the machine body. Remove the machine and unthread the drill from the boring bar. Clean and hone the drill so it will be ready for the next use and store properly. We will insert a stainless steel stem into the curb valve T. The stem has large Acme threads on the body and a square shank with small inside threads. When the stem is inserted into the curb valve T during the installation procedure, it has to be tightened down until it makes a positive shutoff. If a positive shutoff is not achieved when the stem is inserted, it will not be possible to remove the control chamber and machine without having gas blowing into the atmosphere. For this demonstration, an easy release inserting tool will be used to insert the curb valve T-stem. This tool has an upper nut and lower shank connected by coarse Acme threads. The Acme thread should be kept free of burrs, clean, and lightly lubricated. The nut of the inserting tool will thread into the right-hand threads of the E5 machine boring bar. The shank of the inserting tool has small outside threads, which will mate with the small inside threads of the stem shank. To prevent damage to these small threads when the stem is installed, the inserting tool has a driving fork, which slips down over the square end of the stem. The fork also secures the inserting tool to the stem. To insert the stem into the curb valve T, first thread the shank of the inserting tool into the stem and slip the fork over the end of the stem. Attach the inserting tool nut to the E5 machine boring bar by threading it wrench tight into the right-hand threads at the base of the bar. Now attach the shank and stem to the nut, hand tight. Retract this assembly into the machine as far as possible. Attach the machine to the control chamber, wrench tight. Turn the bypass relief valve to the bypass position and open the flop valve. The boring bar will now be under full line pressure, making it necessary to control the piston action. Secure the feed yoke over the thrust collar and tighten the pivot arm thumb screw. Turn the yoke clockwise to lower the stem until it contacts the top of the curb valve T. Ratcheting the boring bar and feeding the yoke in a clockwise direction will insert the stem into the body. After the stem has seated against the body ledge, test the stem seal by turning the bypass relief valve to the relieve position. If there is a steady gas flow, continue the inserting operation. If there is no flow, reverse the ratchet dog, disengage the feed yoke, pick up the slack and strike the ratchet handle sharply. Then turn the ratchet handle counterclockwise. Pull the boring bar to its uppermost position and remove the machine. The nut of the inserting tool is still attached to the boring bar. Remove it. Now remove the control chamber. Remove the lower shank of the inserting tool from the stem. Store properly. The steel completion cap has two O-rings. One O-ring makes a pressure seal between the cap and the curb valve T-body. The other O-ring makes a pressure seal between the stem and the cap. Lubricate both of the cap O-rings with rubber stopper lubricant and clean away any dirt or chips from the top of the T that could damage the O-rings. Slide the completion cap over the curb valve T-stem and tighten the cap with a wrench. The cap should be tightened securely to prevent it from loosening when the stem backseats against it. Place the malleable iron T handle over the stem and tighten the set screw with a screwdriver. Place the curb valve T in service by threading the T handle counterclockwise until the stem backseats against the completion cap. We have used the curb valve T to make an all-welded main-to-service connection under pressure in a no-blow manner. The no-blow curb valve T can shut off gas flow for repairs or complete replacement of the service line at any time. This is done by lowering the stem down the T-body to a seat ledge, providing a metal-to-metal seal. This shutoff is simplified if a curb box is placed over the T at the time of installation. The T can then be opened or closed with a curb valve shutoff rod from above ground. The O-rings in the cap can be replaced when the stem is in the shutoff position. Another feature of the curb valve T is that the seat can be reconditioned. To do this, first extract the stem. To begin, lower the stem down to the seat ledge to shut off gas flow. Next, remove the T-handle and completion cap. Thread the extracting tool into the stem all the way. Then back it up until the forks can slide over the square end of the stem. Attach the control valve, in this case the H-17800 control chamber, over the extracting tool and onto the T, and tighten. Turn the bypass relief valve to the bypass position. Place the Mueller E5 machine onto the control chamber, wrench tight. The bottom end of the boring bar has two sets of threads. A set of right-hand threads used for most operations, and above them, a smaller set of left-hand threads. It is the left-hand threads that will be used to extract the stem from the T. Now lower the boring bar until it contacts the extracting tool. Engage the feed yoke so line pressure can be controlled once the stem is extracted. Ratchet the boring bar in a counterclockwise direction to engage the extracting tool. Continue ratcheting the boring bar counterclockwise, turning the yoke in the same direction to follow the boring bar up. Continue until the stem is extracted and the boring bar is in the rearmost position. Close the flop valve and turn the bypass relief valve to the relieved position, expelling the gas. Remove the E5 machine from the control chamber and remove the stem and extracting tool. To polish the body seat, we will use the E5 machine, a tool holder, and a reaming tool, which are listed as optional tools in the toolkit section of the catalog. Check the threads and the shoulders of the tools to make sure they are free from dirt, nicks, or burrs. Thread the tools together, wrench tight. And attach them to the boring bar of the E5 machine by threading the tool holder onto the right-hand threads at the base of the boring bar. Wrench tight. Retract the reaming tool into the E5 machine. Attach the E5 machine to the control chamber, wrench tight. Turn the bypass relief valve to the bypass position. Open the flop valve. place the feed yoke over the thrust collar to control the piston action of the boring bar. And using the yoke, move the reaming tool down until it seats against the body ledge. This is an operation where the crank handle is used to good advantage. Loosen the wing nut and pivot the handle up, then retighten the wing nut. Turn the crank handle in a continuous clockwise direction. This will eliminate any nicks or burrs and polish the seat evenly. The reaming tool will only clean the seat. It will not enlarge the body seat to the extent that it would require an oversized bushing and stem to make a shutoff. When the seat has been polished, raise the reaming tool up above the flop valve by turning the yoke counterclockwise. Close the flop valve. Turn the bypass relief valve to the relieve position and remove the E5 machine. Now the stem can be reinserted using the same steps used earlier. After the stem has been reinserted in the curb valve T, it should provide a positive shutoff as it seats against the reconditioned ledge. Reinstall the completion cap and T-handle. Once the repairs on the surface have been made, the stem can be raised until it back seats against the cap. The curb valve T is now in the open position. We have used the curb valve T to make an all-welded main-to-service connection, made a positive shutoff in the curb valve T, and have completely reconditioned the curb valve T under full line pressure. All of these steps have been done in a no-blow manner.
This completes our training video on the installation or repair procedures using Mueller's H-17800 curb valve T. All of us at Mueller Company appreciate your interest in our products. For more information, please call our Customer Service Center at 1-800-798-3131. This presentation is part of a continuing series of training and instructional videos from Mueller Company. Mueller instructional videos are to be used only as training aids. They are not intended to replace the operating instructions or repair manuals. All installation operations should be performed by properly trained personnel. Before beginning any no-blow installation or repair procedure, be sure to read, understand, and follow the operating instructions in the manual. And remember, always use genuine Mueller parts, and always use the appropriate safety equipment.